Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. First things first, this is not financial advice. This is strictly opinion commentary, and anything I say in this video, do not misconstrue it as recommending to buy or sell any security in the entire market, which is extremely risky. Investing in general is extremely risky. With that understood and out of the way, we've got a big GameStop update video for everyone today. At the end of this video, we're going to look at some interesting tinfoil. We're going to go over the GME model and what it's saying about the next couple days. And we're going to do a general discussion and topic, which I want some commentary in the comment section down below on, about Roaring Kitty's cost basis and Ryan Cohen's last couple share purchases, because we are at the point now where GME is significantly oversold. And you don't need to be looking at TA every day to know that. You don't need to be looking at good earnings reports and the stock being slammed down thereafter to know that, okay, you can be a rational person and understand that when a stock sells off like this to this degree on no news, that there's probably something more than TA. There's probably something more than financials going on behind the scenes with this equity. So let's take a look first and foremost. The last time that Ryan Cohen purchased shares, price reported $21.55. That was on April 3rd. Let's just take a quick look at last time he bought. And I'm not suggesting that he's going to buy now, but we're going to compare this exact price to kind of the range that GameStop is in now. Okay, so he purchased here Thursday, April 3rd. And we got a near 70% move. He bottom ticked it nearly perfectly. Let's look at the time before. $22.24 on June 9th of 2023. So go back to June 9th of 2023. And again, this is a level I think that we can pretty well confidently say that Ryan Cohen is comfortable adding shares in. So I use that, and you can see here too, this caused some little bit of hoopla in the market. We got a nice run up from here. That was a 27% pop. So he's obviously aware of where GameStop presents decent value. I think it presents significant value here. If that, I'm speaking for myself only. I think it's a generational opportunity for myself to try and pick up more shares. You can see though, again, $22.90 he bought it. So he's buying in this exact range where GME has been stuck in for the past few days, even kind of feels like weeks now. These prices before obviously split, adjusted there. Wouldn't consider those too much, but look at his past three buys. Let's focus on those. $21.50 to $22.90. Roaring Kitty's last known cost basis, $23.41 per share. Okay, well, where are we in relation to that? We're at $21.97 today. $23.41 is almost 7% up from where we are now. We are below 7% of where Roaring Kitty's last known cost basis is. So right off the bat, I think GME is just perfectly positioned for something pretty spectacular in the short term. Long term wise, I think it's even better and grander and bigger. But I think short term, we're going to see something here. And whether it's the model that tells us so, TA that tells us so, whatever mechanism, whatever it is that you like to look at, I think that's where we're going to see some relief. Now, what's going to cause that relief? Is it going to be Ryan Cohen buying shares? It could be an official announcement coming from GameStop on Thursday of this week. They were teasing some power packs related kind of announcements on X. We will see about that. And we can go back to what happened actually during the NFT announcement. The last time really GameStop did something of note that could materially affect the business. So when GameStop officially announced the NFT beta, and for those of you that are more new to GameStop, GameStop had an NFT site. It's not really worth covering right now unless it comes back. But you can see here, that was here. GameStop went up 60% from that. And then the official announcement, I think, was in July 11th, which preceded a run up of 50%. So look, I mean, again, it's power packs. Who knows how Wall Street's going to spin that? It's obviously in a non-biased opinion, it's obviously a way to generate revenue for the company, which ultimately they need more of, right, to really make Wall Street change their tune, to embark on this generational run, which I think is in the works from Ryan Cohen. But let's just look at 50% up from here. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but that would be in the 30s. So that would probably fill the gap up top. We'll turn extended hours off to see that. There you go. Gap fills at $30 almost exactly. So that would make sense. Now, are they going to do it? Are they going to clear out all those FTDs if this happens on Thursday? I don't know. I mean, there's kind of been a lot of nothing burgers lately. I don't do hype dates. I would never, ever, 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 and I say this so often, play short dated options on any of this stuff. It's just not worth it. I know someone else in the community did that recently, put a lot of money there. The theta decay is probably nuts on those contracts. And those contracts can still go in the money. They could pay out whatever. But I think that's an example of why I personally don't do that, is they have so many tools at their disposal to kick the can, recycle FTDs through other ETFs. Eventually, I do believe they come due, but it's definitely worth noting that can kicking is always a possibility. So I have Thursday kind of on my thought list as a maybe for some action, for some price action. But again, we will see. Now, XRT, and we'll get to the model here in a minute. 905% short. How is it possible? You're wondering. Well, they are Houdini level magicians. Creation and redemption. That's all it is they redeemed a bunch of shares down to the outstanding, lowering to 2.4 million. That's a very low number for XRT. Anything below that, you're going to see XRT short percentage at 1,000 plus, which again, hysterical. It's a comedy. It's a hilarity. Maybe the joke is even on us because they keep doing this over and over and over again. But 905% short on XRT. They're likely going to have to create out of here. Whether they fill up the basket with GameStop shares or not, we'll see. Would Thursday, would the narrative be a good time to do it? Sure, but I've thought that about other things too that has not come to fruition. Now, the model, you're seeing that too. So November 3rd, that was down to 2.4 million shares outstanding on XRT. They created slightly up to 2.99 million. GMEU, I feel like, is almost kind of the counterweight in the Libra scale here, where they can play games with XRT. That's going to drag it down. Then they can help GMEU get off reg show. Then XRT gets blown up. GMEU then is the other side that lures it down. I think it's kind of a juggling act that they've got going on. Obviously, the creation of a 3X ETF, which I am not trolling by saying this. They are planning that for later in the year or early next year release. It's going to be a T-Rex product. Again, if you've been following me on X, you know I have a lot of hesitations about these T-Rex products. That would be another concern, another tool for shorts to use potentially to keep GameStop down. So, when you're looking at the model, and let's look at the exact scenario here. Let's pull up this tab. It's, the amount of pressure upward is really dependent on how many FTDs I think they've been kicked around. You can see here, the price is pretty much rock bottom, and then a blip up to 26.88 is kind of what the model's thinking. That would be later in November. It looks like November 18 or 19 would be the peak on that potentially. But you have to understand that we didn't hit anywhere near these prices before. I mean, a couple dollars off, sure, here and there. But I really think the initial model, and again, the person on Reddit, if you're just finding me now, the person on Reddit did change Richard Newton's model a little bit to account for swap season. Again, that's why I am not playing short dated options on this equity, because I think it is ridiculously risky to do that, given that we might still be in a swap season. And, a little bit of my own tinfoil, but I think there's something going on with Chewy here. They had a ton of call activity yesterday. Big time flow. You can see here on Unusual Whales, 5,000 plus contracts at the ask came in yesterday. That was November 4th. So something going on there. And those are a bit short dated, 16 days till expiry. Is there some sort of derivative swap involving Chewy? And I also think Unity, and again, I am not being bullish on these other securities. I'm just curious as if there is something going on behind the scenes with Unity, which, by the way, on a modest earnings beat, popped 20%, seems very odd. Very, very odd on such a small beat. What? Meanwhile, GameStop, by the way, let's just real quick tangent here. 8% beat on revenue, 32% EPS beat, and we get what, a pathetic relief rally here, about 15%. I mean, it's just, you really can't make this stuff up. So besides the point, though, let's dive into another really interesting thing here. The tinfoil plot thickens. Now, this is TA. Calling it tinfoil is basically, I think, the association with the number 741. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's a legacy GME number. 741. Now, this person put on a moving average. A moving average in TA is essentially a line on the chart. I'll show you one on mine. You can see the green line and the tan line. These track GameStop historical performance over a set amount of time. Well, they turned on the 741-day moving average, and when it touches it, and this is actually quite accurate, it usually signifies the bottom. Now, GameStop just hit the bottom of the simple moving average 741 on Tuesday, November 4th, touching the price of $21.62. The low is $21.58. So in the past, on August 1st of 2025, it's hit it. On June 23 of 2025, it hit it. June 16 of 2025, June 13, and June 12. So they are basically saying this is the bottom. Now, again, you don't have to be, Nostradamus to tell me that this is GameStop's at a deep low right now and usually rockets off down here. You don't need a 741 simple moving average. However, it would be funny if that kind of comes to be true and then you do get some relief off this. Now, the last time it did get close before some decent news was before earnings, and that led to a 26% increase in price. So you can just tell, again, you don't need that simple moving average or the tinfoil to tell you that this is a decent spot where GameStop likes to bounce from. Now, mechanics-wise and fails to deliver-wise, we don't have the new data. The SEC, I'll show you the official website, has not released the data. Let me know if you think there's anything nefarious about that. I can't say that. I mean, it would be ridiculous to make that accusation. Is it related to the government shutdown? I was reading forums last night suggesting that they have released FTD data on time during government shutdowns in the past. To my knowledge, it's actually an automated system that uploads these zip files, which hilarious. They still use zip files, but that's another thing for another day. So it should be here, and it's not. And again, does the whole market revolve around GME? I think that's a bit of a tinfoil, to use the buzzword mindset, but certainly seems relevant given that there was a lot of shorting activity in the first half of October here on GME. Now, interesting because we're only going to get the first half of October data, but you can see that's a 20% drop on GME. And obviously they did it again here in the late half of October and early November, another 10% down. But, that should show significant fails across various ETFs, including XRT, GMEU, which is still on reg show. The thing's a disaster. I'll say it to you every single day. The thing is totally compromised. IJJ is another one to look out for. IWM legacy fails in there. And GameStop was actually removed from the Russell 3000 in October because of the warrant offering. I think I'm going to do a more deeper dive on this. That might have had something to do with some of this aggressive shorting and algorithmic selling. Ultimately, though, I think it was a swap. I think Chewy is at play. I think Unity is at play. I also think DJT is involved as well. But I'm only focusing on GameStop because GameStop's fundamentals look super, super duper sound. Their leadership remains cool as a cucumber. No one's pressing the panic button. No one's freaking out. And we might have some exciting news with the full launch of Power Packs coming. So let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. Are we due for a bounce? Are we just stuck in purgatory down here and we're just going to be waiting in limbo? I mean, it's funny because I'm looking at the buy flow now and it's all dark pool. It's just everything's off exchange. But usually dark pool activity precedes some pops in price, especially if there's a lot of six-figure orders coming in. We'll see. Are they going to refill the ETFs? I don't know. Do they have a narrative to do so now? Probably on Thursday. But let's wait for the news from the actual company's mouth before speculating too much. I hope you guys are having a great week. In the meantime, I am rooting for the model. I am rooting for a pop here. I am rooting for GameStop. But above all else, this is the area that I want myself to be more enthusiastic and excited about GameStop at versus when it's north of 25, it's north of 30. This is the area where there is truly, in my opinion, deep value. Hope that helps you guys have some clarity about GameStop. Again, not financial advice, and I hope you guys are tuning in, enjoying the videos, and I'll see you again real soon.